Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 464, and today we're doing battle with Volibear ramp. And so this will be our second video in the Fate's Voyage Onward set, and today we are featuring Volibear. And if you managed to watch any of my preview videos, or I guess at least the preview video on Volibear, this is easily the card I talked the most trash on throughout the entirety of the preview season. Now, he has grown on me a little bit since then, but this is one of the cards I expect to be kind of a dud coming out of this set, and then I think Riot will probably buff his kit in the balance patch, and then he's just going to be an absolute monster. But Volibear, my thing with the Volibear kit is the cards like Valyr's Prophet. This is the way you're supposed to get your Volibears on board in a reasonable amount of time. He comes onto the board, puts the Sigil of the Storm down, then the Sigil of the Storm makes your Titanic units cheaper, and you can get the Volibear down for 6 or 7 mana, whatever, depending on how many Sigils have hit. My problem with the Sigils of the Storm package is all of the cards are just pure garbage. And so Valyr's Prophet is okay, at least as the current meta has shaped itself out here in the first couple of days, but the remainder of the kit I'm not super excited with. My problem with the, what's this called, the Sigil of the Storm is it only works once, right? We go through all the work, we play all these understated cards to get the Sigil of the Storms onto the board, and then we play our one card and it's done. And so instead of doing all of that nonsense, why don't we just find ourselves out here playing real ramp cards like Winter's Touch that give us that mana gem permanently. And so that's where we've really kind of started to focus ourselves in with this deck. This is a nice throwback to an Anaka deck of old, looking to switch into Demacia for all of your ramp top end needs. And so in our early game, we're going to look to ramp as hard as we can with the Winter's Touch and with the Wild Mysticism to a little bit of a degree with the Valyr's Prophet. We'll clog up the board with the blocking Badger Bear and Mage Seeker Jr., clear out any of the opposing nonsense with the Avalanches, and then that's going to give us the time to start dropping our big cards on board. The big card of actual strength here is going to be the Darkened Spear. What I mean by this is actually Anaka, and so the reason that you're super excited about playing Demacia in this ramp deck is mainly because of Anaka. We don't really want this going on board as the Darken equipment. We want the big Darken unit, the Anaka itself, mainly for this attack ability. So when Anaka attacks, from the top 6 cards of your deck, you summon one of the units up there. If it summons a Tiana, then you're going to rally. If it summons a Cytherea, then she's going to double all of your unit's stats. And so you just have this incredibly powerful package of cards that you can hit with the Darkened Spear. If you don't hit one of those, ideally you'll hit something like Volibear. Kind of a pretty big coin flip as far as our deck is concerned. We have kind of 50-50 in terms of units between Cytherea, Tiana, Anaka, and Volibear, but then the 9 smaller plays. And so it does have a little bit of an opportunity to whiff. To help in that mode, we do have things like Frozen in Fear, which is an elemental spell tying into the Clash of Giants, but also puts the dog on board, so we can have a small blocker out there just to interact with the opponent just a little bit. Speaking of the Clash of Giants, this is my actual pick for the best Freylord card out of this set. I think this card is going to be monumentally impactful as far as the format goes. My take on the Clash of Giants is immediately just to compare it to Feel the Rush. And so if you're playing Feel the Rush for 12, you know you're getting your 40 stats of units. If we play the Clash of Giants for 12, we're probably only going to hit about 30 or so, right? If we hit something like double Captain Farron, that would be 32. So it's not going to give us nearly as much stats as a Feel the Rush, but we can realistically play this for 12, which feels pretty good, or there's going to be times where we can play this for 10 or 9 or even 8, and that's just such a good deal in terms of what we get out of our mana. And so in this deck in particular, we aren't with a big elementals package. We don't have just enough spells. We're not playing Janna. We're not playing a bunch of flash freezes, but we should have enough to where we can generally play the Clash of Giants for 12. If we get, a Harsh Winds off and a Winter's Touch off and a Frozen in Fear off, that gets it down to 13. One more elemental along the way gets us to 12, and then if we drop a Volibear, gives it a -3 off. That's where we can start to get into that 9 space. The other things I want to mention before we get out of here is Janna's kind of running wild in the format right now. She seems to be the most popular choice here on day 1. So I do want to have this single combat Gentleman's Duel package as a way to potentially strike her down. Blocking Badger Bear can do it from our cheap units. Everybody else can do it from the big ones. I've been moderately surprised with the Gentleman's Duel. I thought this card was just going to be pure garbage, but that +2 health does make itself quite relevant. Also, speaking to Janna, we have the Mage Seeker Jr. Fantastic way to shut down everything Janna is trying to do. She wants to updraft and play a bunch of cards on the cheap. If you make the minimum cost their cards have be 3, then she can't really combo off on her turn anymore. Very resilient early game play that also works nicely against the Nilah decks, being big enough to stop and block a Nilah and make their slipstreams cost 3 mana. A very powerful unit in this format, given what has been released amongst the Janna and the Nilah kit. And so, that's it. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. Before the battles begin, you know what we got to do. We got to pay that pay-to-win price, and it's going to be the Clash of Giants. I'm going to be playing this card all over the place. Just go ahead and get used to it. You're going to be seeing this one across the channel with a little bit of frequency. And so today I feel like we have to focus on the champions and Volibear, but I've been kind of like brewing around with Ashe and Ashe LeBlanc style of decks using that big boy, and I'm kind of excited to jump in and see what we can do with those. But all right, into battle here, up against Heimerdinger Jayce, the old donger, coming at us for our initial opponent of the day. Pretty reasonable start, right? They shouldn't come at us too fast, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get to come out and double ramp. It would be a touch awkward if we have to deal with that 6/6 scrap traption on turn 3, but with the way that this game's going to sequence, we could just frozen and fear it and really slow it down for that first initial attack, and then probably just block it on the second one. Hey, there it is. Scrap Traption coming in. It's going to slow down our ramp, but it's probably going to be worthwhile to stop. I mean, maybe we just come in with Valir's Prophet here instead. We'll have the 7 mana next turn to where we get to say Junior and ramp. Okay, I'm on board. I convinced myself. Alright, and then we'll get to drop the Junior down next turn. Not like we really have a Mystic shottable board here, but he can interrupt that kind of nonsense depending on what the opponent's trying to do. If he wants to play if he wants to play a Tellstones or something, the Mage Seeker will come in and stop that for the moment. I think he's going to come in and just eat an Aftershock. Nope. Quick attack Jayce. So the important thing with the opponent's board right now is both of his units have the 4 health. We can clear them out with Volibear. So, depending on what the opponent does, if he just open attacks here, this is a pretty fresh block with the Mage Seeker Jr. Now we can ramp again. Ideally, Volibear to clear out the board next turn. Ideally. He's going to drop like a production surge just to mess with our day. He's going to say, LOL, look at these. Look at these 4 small guys we just got on the board. Soak up the Volibear spam. Now, the important thing I have to note with Volibear is I've made so many plays expecting him to flip as soon as he sees this 50 damage. It's a round end effect, and so the thing that I really wanted to do and get excited about doing out here is, attacking with like Volibear and Darkened Spear, and you have another unit on the board. They're out here just doing big boy stuff, and then having the Volibear flip in the middle of that attack. Unfortunately, not the way he works. He doesn't flip until the end of the turn, so that's a bit of a bummer for him. Dang, opponent had Vengeance. That sucks. Can't get the Jayce off the board with only 4 damage. I did the mathematics on that one. We can take this hit. It's not that big of a deal. I'm a little bit more worried about whatever he's going to double spell into this turn. Alright, so it just goes for damage. Fortunately, we're at 7, right? He can't Shock Blast kill us here, but we're definitely in danger. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the Clash of Giants. See if we can't find ourselves in a spot next turn to where we open attack, make something happen, and then follow up with Tiana. Oh! We're just follow up with Tiana right now. Get those Decimates in hand. Fuck, we're just dead, aren't we? Lame. Lame, dude. Alright, maybe he'll just Mystic Shot our Captain Farron, right? Maybe. I don't know, man. Oh, he doesn't have it immediately? I mean, if we're gonna be real, we're just dead here. But, oh well. I mean, if he didn't have the play right there, he might have to block with Jayce and then not have access to Shock Blast anymore. I don't know, fam. I don't feel like we're gonna win this game, but I think we definitely just got a shot. Gotta get that Jayce off the board, though. God, he just not have it? There's no way he just doesn't have it. Oh my gosh, he just doesn't have it. Oh my goodness. Alright. Well, it's unfortunate we didn't have the 12 mana that turn to just dome him. That would have been the ideal play for the round. Oh my goodness.
Replicating the power spike.
How does... Oh, it's his other Jayce. Okay. I was like, how did you have this spell come out the right and you're just playing it right now? It was just his last Jayce. Okay. Like, I was really curious if that was one of those spots to where he was just herping and derping and being like, LOL, I'm just gonna wait until 8 turns down the road to play my single Mystic Shot. But that being a flipped Jayce makes sense. Damn. So close with that. Alright, next battle. I'm curious about the removal space in this format. Like, I mean, I haven't played Standard for a month. I'm not current on what Heimerdinger Jayce is typically running. I didn't think they typically ran Vengeances. Maybe they played like 2 Vengeances. But it's definitely got to be on the upswing if Volibear is going to be running around. All right, into the next one, though. Up against Nilah Janna. This would be a nice space to find a... Mageseeker Jr. Should shut down pretty much everything that their deck does. Blocking Badger Bear is not terrible here in the early game, though. Being able to block Nilah and take her down, block the random dude that puts the Slipstream in your deck. He's got a lot of opportunity for greatness out here. That's what I'm all about, you know. The opportunity for greatness. So how do we feel about this? How greedy do we want to get with these ramps? I mean, we can't play anything super fast. Like, we can ramp this turn. That'll take us to 5 crystals next turn. We have 2 mana banked up. Then we don't have the 9 mana it would take to double ramp that turn. So let's take it a little slower. Let's be a little bit more cautious here. Get the Badger Bear down. And then we'll save him to try and kill Jannas and stuff. I'm just going to pass in this spot. I like the idea that we can single combat a Janna and then not have to worry about the Badger Bear just dying to Mystic Shots and stuff. Now, he's played double Siren Song onto the spells, so our world may be a change in here, but did I add that together wrong? Did I really do that? If we didn't Badger Bear, we could have Winter's Touched and then played a Naka next turn? No, there's no way. There's no way I would ever do math wrong. We would only be at 7 mana. Okay, gotcha. Alright, we'll be a Volibear mana next turn, though. It's pretty cool if you ask me. So far, he's spent 10 mana to do nothing. Feels good for us. Alright, got the full split, take down the whole board. I don't know about you, but I'd dig it. I'm ready to drop a Cythria now. Look at that, look at that. Kneel to me, mortal. That's all we need to stop. We can stop on the flavor text right there. All right, the big bird coming down. I guess we should say the little bird in this instance. Cool. Here come the stats, fam jam. Look at that, 2020 Volibear. That's juicy. That's juicy right there. Now this is what I was talking about, trying to set up attacks with Volibear, right? You see that he's done 12, we need to deal another 38 damage. We can do 38 damage in this combat, right? That's not that big of a deal. And so it was like, I spent so many attacks out here trying to fucking sever this combat and figure out how we order our units and get them in the right place so Volibear can give the tail end of our attackers overwhelm. And then it was like, I did some of those attacks and it was like, wait, what? What just happened? He didn't flip? And it's like, oh, I guess I got to read the card more. And so that was kind of a bummer, you know? I don't know why he functions so differently from Sivir at being a round end ability. I guess, you know, there's some potential for it to be kind of obnoxious if you play your Volibear and then he does the 12 damage and then that flips and then he attacks and then gets to go further. But he's a fucking 9-mana champion, right? Like that's what you get. That's what you're paying for a 9-mana champion. And I think you ought to just give it to us, you know? But all right, we're up against what should be the kind of traditional bane to our deck, seeing Annie Misfortune here. I'm curious what turns up. I would guess that this is going to be like Ravenbloom Tomes along with Commander Telsi, Headmaster Telsi, whatever the attack abilities activate twice thing is. But still probably have a lot of elements to Pirates to it. And Pirates was always a real struggle for this style of deck. We were trying to focus on beating other things. But we'll see how it goes. You know, we can throw a Mage Seeker Jr. in front of an Annie. That's my job. Alright, no Mirai Warden. No Mirai Warden. I called for it, so you gotta do it. Legion Saboteur is almost manageable. This is what I'm talking about. This stuff's no good. Kind of a bummer. Don't have our... We only have the 2 copies of Avalanche. I have Avalanche in here. It's mainly like with these matchups like Pirates, you just assume you're going to lose. But the Janna decks pop off a bunch of width later in the game. And so you can target them down a little bit more with Avalanches. Like when we were looking at this deck in best of 3, we just kind of assumed that we were going to ban Pirates every time and didn't dedicate anything to it. But... you know, kind of is what it is. So do we actually want to drop a Darkened Spear? It's like our units aren't even big enough to single combat down the good ones. We could probably just take down Annie in this spot. Doesn't feel good, but probably just dead. Maybe we should have mulliganed harder for Avalanches. Okay, GG. GG. Now that's something I think is kind of interesting in the sense that I'm really big on Nilah Samira right now. I think that's, you know, we call it an aggro deck. I think it's kind of a combo aggro deck is more appropriate. It's more of a mid-range kind of deck, but we have a lot of game against something like that, just given that so much of the strength in Samira and Nilah is tied up into their 2-drops, and we can get the shutdowns on the 2-drops so hard with the likes of the Mage Seeker Juniors if they turn up. And so I think that's, you know, something that's pretty interesting to me, but it's like kind of easy to draw the comparison to Pirates because they're the same factions, right? But one matchup is wildly different and wildly better than the other one. And so it's kind of interesting to see how it plays out like that. All right, though, up against Teemo Janna with Bandle City. I'm curious to see what this is, if this is going to be some kind of like elusives deck or what's going on. I'm not immediately certain why Teemo would be in this deck. So maybe he's just going to try and... Oh, there's the baggage. Is that what we're gonna see? Coming at us with the baggage, huh? So let's take the ramp a little slow here. I ultimately worry that, like, if we play the Winter's Touch and then don't get anything on board, he's just going to have something weird like this, right? Where he's got Station Archivist and 2 other dudes, and then it's just like, oops, you have to take 5 damage, right? And, like, we need to preserve our health total just a little bit here so that we aren't just, like, incidentally losing to 5 puff cap damage and then, like, a Mystic Shot and stuff. Just stay a little bit healthier here. All the puff caps coming through. We only got 7 in the deck. What's this? Whenever an opponent draws, plant it. Okay. Let's slow him down a little bit with the Frozen in Fear. Says I'm ready to block an otter. I know what my role in this world is. Alright, but now hopefully we can pop off. We can take the ramp here, we can take the Winter's Touch next turn, and then ideally we can start moving with a Naka 2 turns from now. So much for that. I guess we can still get there. I redid those mathematics. they add up. All right, let's see if he wants to play some 3-mana pranks. I bet the answer is no. Oh shit, what do I know? Oh my god, what do I know? At least didn't hit our Anaka, so we can play the full amount for the Winter's Touch and then still get our Darken on board next turn. Oh, we had the landmark anyways. Okay. I completely blanked that thing was even on the board. It's tough to see, like, when Anaka's on the Darken form up, or on the equipment form up front, you don't get to visually see that the cost is going to be reduced. That's easy to miss. All right, RNGesus, what do you got for us? Badger Bear. Not the strongest, but, you know, against Teemo, it's not terrible having an elusive blocker. I think we're just looking to the point to where we can avalanche, though. Or maybe we'll draw a Tiana or something, you know. We aren't very puff capped, right? We've only got 6 puff caps. I don't really care about the flashbangs. I would kind of like 1 unit to die at this point, you know. As we go into the next turn, it's like I want to play the Wild Mysticism this turn and then attack with the Naka next turn. If we hit a good unit, I don't want to lose it, but, you know, kind of is what it is, I guess. All right, the 3-mana backpack. You're welcome. I love Mageseeker Jr. so much. So let's see. I don't really care about any of these units, but I do want to get something off of the board, and so let's go ahead and just single combat. If he wants to respond to this, you know, good job. That's all I'm asking, is having an open spot on board for whatever Anaka wants to bring to the party. Who you bringing? Another Badger Bear. Come on. We're trying to hit the highlight reel here, you know? You got to hit the big stuff for the YouTube video. Is hitting Badger Bears back to back. I guess it's better than hitting the landmark thing, whatever he's called. What a bummer. He's not even gonna spend mana this turn. Ugh. Okay. I'm just eyeballing the Clash of the Giants now and being like, this is what I want on board. I don't want these little dum-dums. I want the Clash of the Giants down now. Since Anaka's clearly not doing her job. Is that how we want to approach this? We can, I mean, we can gentleman's duel away a unit, but then oh, this doesn't even do what we want. Shit. It took me too long to envision that this unit was going to not die to Janna. The 2 health you're giving us is too much. Oh, there's the unit, though. You just made a lot of flashies, but we get to play Tiana now.
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
Okay, okay. You got for us this time, the junior. Boo! It's supposed to be something big time, you know. Been just whiffing.
Let's race, you and me.
I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
Maybe the play is just to get all these bad units out of our deck from the Anaka, so so the next Anaka swing we do is guaranteed to be a good one. Am I right? I'm right. That's where you say you're right, Bust. Oh shit, we just outright lose our Anaka in this space. That's not ideal.
The Sunbrook got me good.
The Zephyr heralds the squall.
Alright, we'll play the Clash of the Titans. We finally get to see it. We made it premium, so... Oh no, we're a mana short now? God, I have messed this game up. That's a bummer. Press F to pay respects. I mean, oh my god, we've just messed up everything here. So we're gonna have to Wild Mysticism this turn. Like, that's at least our angle to victory, is if we get the Wild Mysticism. The questionable thing is whether or not we should have played Avalanche. And, you know, Avalanche kind of scares me because it's just going to kill off our own junior. And that's not really what I want to be seeing. But, like, how much are we really baiting by dropping the Badger Bear first? It's not our most clever play of the day. Falling to 9. This game has just gone on way too long. I mean, we kind of deserve to die at this point.
2, 3, 4.
Is that enough? Yeah, I want to take this 3 bank into the next turn.
I'm innocent. Watch the chrome. Try and keep up.
My tempest shields us.
So we got him to 4. Was this too greedy? I mean, we could have... I didn't sit around and do the math or anything, but we could have added another Mage Seeker Jr. to the board and then attacked with both of them.
Protect them.
Maybe that was the angle. I don't know, man. That's not how you light up the highlight reel, though, you know? That's what the important stuff is. Maybe this Volibear will just kill now. God, we fall to 4. This is ridiculous. Downright ridiculous. Oh, we're gonna get Karina'd. God damn it. Well, that one's on me. I feel like we should have won this game. That was a bit of that was on me. I think that, you know, like, what point do you say I've done enough with Mage Seeker Jr.? You know, say it's okay to lose him at this point. He can go away now. And so I think we should have just got more dudes on the board and tried to press in, like maybe even a couple of turns earlier. I know we skipped a couple of turns where we didn't get those attacks in. And then I also planned on having a bit of that setup be just playing the big Titan spell, and I kind of messed that up too. And so it's okay. You know, we're having a good time, and it's early in the format. We'll get these things sorted out in no time. All right, I'm curious about how hard Bard can start to pop off. I mean, he's got a lot more in his kit through this upcoming set with that, I don't know, bag of stuff that the opponent was playing in the last game, and the thing I'm kind of interested in is the Shadow Isles unit that's just like super statted for its abilities. I'm curious to see what can't happen with him if can't fit in some kind of kindred shell or something. I've kind of made it a point that I'm going to play a bunch of Thresh Nasus. It's like I have to get Thresh Nasus in my kit, and that's my plan for the upcoming season. And so maybe there's something there, you know, killing off all your own dudes, getting the bonuses that way. So what do we got here? He Mariams. She hit a chime. That's okay though. And he updrafted. He doesn't have the spell mana hanging out.
What do you seek and what do you offer?
But we're not in a real hurry here. I think this is going just fine. We'll take 5. This isn't... Well, I should say this shouldn't be like the last game to where we have to worry about as much damage, right? In that last game, I was worried about, you know, the way it sequences out to where they're just like, oops, I dealt 7 damage with puff caps, and now I'm going to deal 5 damage a burn, and you're done. Like, this deck can bring the 5 damage a burn, but it shouldn't have all the puff caps to go along with it. It's I feel a little bit safer in that space. Here, I'll just go ahead and ramp. Our hand doesn't do anything. We don't have any access to big expensives at this point, but make our best happen. And ooh, Sunken Temple. So that's one way to take advantage of your Bard. But I think this hand illustrates perfectly my general problem with the you know, sigil style of ramping with Volibear. It's like you have games like this to where, you know, you draw all your sigils but don't draw your expensive stuff, or you draw your expensive stuff and draw it in the wrong order. It's like you at least get to dig yourself out of a pretty big hole by just using the gems instead of the sigils. But we're gonna get outscaled on fast. Just kind of is what it is when your opponent's drawn Sunken Temple and you're just staring down at a hand of do nothing. Alright, here's our play of the day. How many people expected this to be a thing, huh? Dropping the Gentleman's Duel on your Mage Seeker Jr. to take down a Mr. Thrift. That's it. That's it right there, fam. Welcome to Battles with Bust. Oh, we just zinged him so hard. Oh, we zinged him real good. Alright, we got to draw something now. There's nothing left in our deck. We got to draw something.
Blessings upon me ease the pain of others. Feel the breeze and know you have
Okay.
my favor.
Happy to draw a card. Cythria turns up. She's interesting. She's interesting.
The winds of change blow bitter cold.
Alright, he finally answers the Mage Seeker Jr. curious about stuff like this. It's like he's playing off these bursting backpacks, but it's like kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, I guess you have to play all the cards you're drawing at some point, right? But it just kind of feels like, I don't know. I guess that's how it's supposed to go. You can't just keep drawing infinite cards forever. Maybe you can. Maybe that's the answer to life, huh? Just keep drawing infinite cards forever. Alright. This Bard's gonna outscale our Cytherea. It's kind of obnoxious. This is all we can hope for, is just he makes like a really bad attack and we get the double harsh winds and do good stuff. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he's gonna be capable of drawing cards in the middle of combat here. And so, I mean, we're by no means out of the woods with this. So we can get in front of this. We definitely want to spread out as much damage as we can. But, I mean, if we're going to be real, this is this is likely he's just going to draw a bunch of cards in the middle of combat and then chime up and pray to RNGesus. Well, that could have gone a lot worse. I'll give it that. That could have gone a lot worse. Yeah, this is just so obnoxious. Like adding Cytherea and it just not being close to being enough. It's so dumb. It was just like we ramped up to 10 but didn't have anything to do for like 3 turns. Alright. I just like wholeheartedly feel like there should be absolutely 0 games that you win that involve you playing that landmark. Like, it's just such a terrible card in the sense that, like, yes, it did all kinds of stuff there. He drew a bunch of chimes and it was very nice to watch and stuff. But like, if you realistically have the time to add a 5 mana do nothing card to the board, then you should probably just be winning the game outright on its own. Like, that strikes me as just being one of the worst cards in the set. And I feel like that was an illustration of one of the games that makes it look very good. And then I think you're also going to run into a lot of games to where you're like, oh, well, this card is dead in so many ways. Like, A, if I play it, I just die. And B, I can't just play it because I just die. And so it's just stuck in my hand this whole time. And it's just not doing anything. All right, Triple Junior. Let's see what you can do. Up against, I assume this is some kind of mill deck. With Maokai Evelynn, and it's trying to level up Maokai through the husks. That's my thought. My opinion.
Plenty of fire to go around.
So it should be one of those decks that just takes forever to do stuff. I think we're pretty good to take the juniors just a little bit slow and just start off with our ramp spell. This is pretty close to just being like that last game to where we have a hand that just doesn't do anything and it feels so bad. Like, I feel like this is how we're going to lose, right? He's just going to say, like, here's Evelynn, attack. and we're like, oh boy, I guess we got to take all that damage. I guess we can defend through her for a while. It's not super dangerous at the moment.
I love it when they scream.
We'll take this one. I mean, we have a harsh winds to stop her once. So I think we might run into something. He's going to immediately hit regenerate if we make a play like this. But I want the Evelynn to start shrinking. At the moment now, we can kill her with a Mage Seeker Jr. in combat. Not if she has quick attack, but that potential is there. And then it makes her also big enough to die to a Volibear strike if he wants to be relevant. I know he wants to be relevant. He's just he's just never gonna do it. That's his downside. Eradication. It's typically a spell that I'm always afraid of. so much nastiness happening with Eradication against all the decks that we like to play.
Ready for a little splish splash.
So what do we got? Steam hits the board.
But you know that.
Evelynn hit tough. Worth noting because now we have to deal with her with the blocking Badger Bear. It should be safe at this point though to assume we can kill her with a single combat. If he only has 3 mana, right, the best he can probably do here is going to be a Hate Spike. And a Hate Spike onto Badger Bear is not going to stop this kill. Do we want to just go ahead and do it? Like, if he just passes the turn, how bad is this? That's tough. I think we're in a spot to where against the opponent we're against, they probably never do it. And now we're just kind of opening ourselves up to getting hate spiked. But I kind of feel like if we were like up in our space to where we were in Masters, we would have been safe to just assume opponents definitely attacking there. But nonetheless, we got Evelynn off the board. I'm most assured that a second copy is immediately going to come down. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I'm going to just go with another Badger Bear. I don't really think we have to worry about too many cards out of the opposing deck in terms of cheapness. Like, most of his spells are going to be like Hate Spike kind of things, and just like reducing their cost at this, or increasing their cost at this stage of the game doesn't do a ton. Hi, Bear. Time to do your thing. He is pretty close to flipping. Are we gonna get? Is he gonna hit us with the Maokai flip into that terrible, like the actual worst card in the game? Well, I guess that's a good argument. If the new mill card is the worst card in the game, or if that title he's playing the Watery Grave. I just saw it. Oh my gosh, this is what we're gonna lose to, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So his Maokai is gonna flip, right? We just killed 2 units here. Oh my gosh, I bet he hits us with the Watery Grave. What a day. What a day. We just did absolute nothing for like 8 turns, and then we get to get zinged by the Watery Grave. Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen. Oh, okay. We make it into the next turn, but not really capable of actually dealing damage here. Not really capable. What do we get? Ooh, a single combat? Oh my god, and Volibear. Oh my gosh. I'm going to make it through one more game. And then we're going to have to call it. We're going to have to call it a day. Just the nonsense we've been getting taken down by. Oh man. I just want one highlight reel Anaka play. And that's going to be it. We'll call it a day. Alright. Swain Nilah. Let's see how this one comes together. Just want to take all the ramps. Let's just take the ramps, you know? It's not a deck that should come at us too aggressively, I don't think. Oop. Oh, man. I didn't think we were going to have to deal with Mirai Warden openers. Might be able to pull off a big avalanche next turn. Like, we're getting a little lucky in the sense that the sparring student's not going to get the +1/+1 because the tentacle's already on the board. And that's gonna buy us quite a bit of time. I think we got to drop the avalanche now. It's too good. Get the student out of here, completely wipe out all the tentacles. Ooh. Now we can ramp it up a little bit. This is scary though, coming up against Swain. Like, you have to assume that this deck is playing stuff like Disintegrate, playing stuff like Scorched Earth, and their ability to just come in and blow up our big units is not something I'm really excited about. Get him with the junior though. Well, we got to stop the bleeding at least a little bit here. Happy enough to get these tentacles off the board. We'll continue to ramp up. Can get our friend Anaka down next turn. The highlight reel is ready. It says, I bring it upon ye. Give me a good one. I don't have enough mana. I have 8 mana. Okay, there we go. You'd be like, oh, it's pirouette. That's what opponents say in this spot, right? If we're playing pirouettes, it's okay. But when we're trying to hit the highlight reel on our Anaka, you're like, oh, it's pirouette. It's done. Disintegrate. Look how boring I am. That's not you, Money Mental. That's opponent in general, so don't feel bad. And a junior. I don't hate hitting the junior. Like, he's actually going to be pretty good here. Like, I think our Anaka's going to get hit with a Scorched Earth, and then, like, opponent just Barbed Chain, and so they're not going to be able to take advantage of their Barbed Chain. He can only play one more card this turn. Like, this is as good of a hit as we're going to get off the Mage Seeker Junior. Alright, Volibear. Let's show him how you do.
There can be no ice without water, Volibear.
What is water?
Do these naturally spread out? Like, I haven't... This reads like Riptide Rex, right? Each one targets a different random enemy. Okay, so they won't stack. I just saw, like, the beams, I don't know, whatever the fuck these things are called, like, spread out, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? We did 2 to the Pool Shark and then 1 to face, and we just completely missed Nilah. But, what in the case? I don't feel so bad anymore. That was okay. But still, like, we run into this big problem next turn to where we want to like play Cythria, but nobody has Overwhelm, or we want to just get the big stats down, and it doesn't quite work because Volibear doesn't have frontside Overwhelm. And so I'm going to play Clash of the Giants next turn. I want to play it one time this video. Please don't concede immediately. We got to get it down. It costs 12. We have 12. We can do it this time. All right. How about now? How about now? With his body, I sculpted the mountains. With the fire of his maw, I carved 1,000 fjords. Ooh. Love hearing that, Volibear. Not a bad hit. She Who Wanders and Wrath of the Frey Lord. His units can't block at this point, so that feels pretty good. And all right. Taking down a victory, ending on a W. Let's get out of here. These games got to be done. We can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. And so, back in the day, back in the times when the Demacia ramp deck was really kind of popping off, it was a very polarized deck, right? It still is. I'm glad that we kind of ran into both ends of the spectrum as to where we got to play against pirates and just got smoked. And then we got to play against like some of the more slow, grindy Janna kind of decks, and you get to say LOL, like, I'm just going to be more powerful than what you're doing. And so that was the kind of space I believe the format was in. I don't remember entirely what was happening, but I feel like at one end of the spectrum there was pirates, and then at the other end of the spectrum it was just like these real dirtily, like, Seraphine kind of decks or something, and this deck really got to take advantage of those. Now, the gameplay today did not leave me particularly impressed. It's just like we ran into like way too many spots to where things were just drawn wrong, and like our top end just didn't feel that good. I'm not particularly impressed with the space of this deck in general or in the meta. And so I think as the meta expands, we're just going to see a ton of Samira decks still, and a ton of Nilah decks that are more aggressive once people have kind of figured out the format, and this deck just isn't going to work in that. But that's not to say that we didn't come across things that I think are going to be very valuable in the upcoming days. Number one, like, I've been big on Mageseeker Jr. all through the Eternal season. That's what we managed to use to kind of to top 4 the Mastering Runeterra Eternal event. It's just so good in these like really aggressively oriented spell heavy decks, and that's exactly what you're going to get out of a meta that's very big on Nilah and very big on Samira, and also adding in Janna, who wants to do a lot of the same things. And the kind of extensions you get from looking at Janna decks are going to be like, okay, I'm going to play Back Alley Bar, or okay, I'm going to play Seraphine, and these are all spaces to where the Mageseeker Jr. can be spectacular. And so I am quite interested in seeing if we can't find some good homes for Mageseeker Jr. in Standard, whether or not that is trying to bring Balin into Standard, or trying to fit it into Vayne decks, or I was trying this with Aatrox Vayne in Eternal. Like, I had a large suite of decks that I was all focusing in on Mageseeker Jr. I can assure you right now this guy is going to be the real deal in the upcoming format. Well, he's just kind of being slept on right now. I think the competitive spectrum of the content creators play decks that Mageseeker Jr. is against. He doesn't make like really compelling gameplay for the kind of meme deck creators, if you will. And so I don't think that he really gets a lot of visibility, but he is like just super, super strong. I think we're going to see a lot of this. I was very happy with the Mageseeker Jr. in our deck today. This home is not it. He's going to find one. Up next, we have the Clash of Giants. This is one that this is going to be the real deal build around kind of thing. We're going to find decks that I don't think necessarily have to be super all in on elementals, in the sense of, okay, I'm playing P and Z for the guy that doubles elemental spells. Now I can double Clash of the Giants. That's too much. That's memey. Like, same thing maybe with the Bilgewater guy. Right, there's the Bilgewater guy, 7 mana, copy 2 elemental spells that you've already played earlier, play them for 0. That's a little bit more in the wheelhouse of what I think is kind of working with this, but the space I'm kind of envisioning in my brain is using like all the flash freezes and playing them in Ash LeBlanc, and then Ash LeBlanc just also happens to have access to an 8 mana spell that puts 30 power of units on the board. Like, that's where I think that space can really kind of land which the Clash of Giants. I think this is going to find a home exactly in the same way that cards like Feel the Rush found a home. And so, like, if you want to say, look at the kind of like zombie Ash decks, I think people call them. I don't know. That name's fucking dumb if you ask me. But the Ash decks that are playing with things like the Harrowing, and they're playing with all of the dogs, and then all of the flash free spells and the Quietus kind of cards, like that could be another very good home for a card like Clash of Giants. It's going to find something well before Volibear finds a home. And so while I was not, particularly excited about the outcome of this video that we did, the gameplay did not lend to what I really wanted to see in terms of a successful deck to carry onto the ladder. I feel like we still had a pretty good learning experience for this upcoming meta, and a lot of these cards that I'm going to be very interested in playing. And even Gentleman's Duel. Like, I swear to you, I've been quite impressed with Gentleman's Duel these days. It doesn't seem like it should be that great, but it has impressed me beyond belief. And so I'm glad that I got to try it out as well, because this is one that, as we were, reviewing the cards, we're just kind of like, Fish Fight sucks at 3 mana. Nobody plays the 5-healed dragon thing. Gentleman's Duel might find a place as like a 5th and 6th strike card, right? You're playing 3 copies of Single Combat, you're playing like 1 or 2 copies of Condemn, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'll get Gentleman's Duel in here just for that additional strike because I'm playing Fiora today or something. Like, that's the kind of space to where it was like really fringe. But I think the Gentleman's Duel is much closer to like mid than it is to fringe playable. I think that we're actually going to be surprised in the amount that we see Gentleman's Duel these days. And so, good stuff. Not a bad set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.